Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I think I want to do a little 3-panel abstract. I haven't done one of these in a while and I always love how these turned out. And I'm still working on this pack of Cotty paper because I have it. I really like this paper now. I bought it, and did an art haul last year and I didn't really like it. I liked it, but then I played on it some and it kind of warps when you're working on it, and so then I was like, I don't like this, and I put it in the closet and I never got it back out again. But after working in that great big art journal and it having that kind of cotton feel paper, which I feel like is this kind of paper, I'm like, okay, now that I've worked in that journal for quite a few layouts, I'm really liking it again. Let me pull this paper out of the closet. And I like that it's 20 sheets of paper for around $34, I think is what it's running currently, US dollars on Amazon currently, and that's a lot of paper for $30 compared to like the Hanamule, which I priced out, and it was 10 sheets for $51. So the 20 sheets would be $102 versus the $34 or $32. I mean, it was just over $30, and you can see it's practically more than a third less in price for a really nice size paper, because this is approximately 12 inches by 16 inches, and so you get more for your money with these papers if you can decide that, okay, it's a weird paper compared to cold press paper, but I like it. So I'm still working my way through this pad of 20 sheets. I'll pull a pad of whatever out and I'll work my way through it. And that way you actually kind of get really good at working with it. I thought we would do a color palette challenge. I want to do one of these where maybe we do some stenciling on top. So I pulled out another kind of odd color palette, but I thought, let's just try it. And I've pulled out some Kuretake colors. I've got these all out of the regular set. I did not end up pulling any out of the Art Nouveau set. So if you've got the larger set of Kuretake colors, that's what I pulled these from. And I pulled out, this is a little bit darker, but I pulled out a 21 gray. I'm sorry, this is a little darker than the thing, but it's watercolor, so we can make it lighter. I pulled out 33 cadmium orange. I pulled out 52 hookers green. I have pulled out 48 greenish yellow, which may be more along the green gold rather than whatever that green is, but we're going to try it. I pulled out 37 purple. There is black here, but I thought maybe we could use graphite or charcoal or something like that. And I'm using color card 219 to be inspired by today, by the Color Cube Volume 1, Sarah Renee Clark. Telling you, my very favorite art tool. If you're not using your color cubes or you've never tried them before, you're missing out. You're missing out. They're so good. I'm going to take some water and just go ahead and spritz a little bit of water on these and get them kind of active. And I think what I'm going to do is spread color on all these, and then we'll get out a few stencils and mark make on top and just see what we end up with. And I'm kind of feeling like, because we've got black in there, let's go ahead and mark make on top, on the bottom, sorry. This one is my this is my matte graphite, that 4B, but I like the 14B. And everything's over here beside me. I don't know how I hide these from myself when I come to sit down. Alright, so 4B is what I found. Oh, there's one right here too. This one is my Stabilo mark saw. Let's use the mark saw. This is black, so now I feel like we're getting a little bit of black in there, and I love it. One thing that we could do, that I never do, is we could, I'm very inspired. I pulled this is the, this one's off of Amazon. It is the DIY Decorative Stencil Templates set of 6 in the damask pattern. So I'll link these below. Sometimes they've got the damask and sometimes they don't. But I'm obsessed with this one that looks like patio blocks from like the 1960s. But I was kind of thinking like we could take some stencils and do some mark making through the stencils. We don't always have to freehand it. And that could be like a fun underneath stencil mark. I was kind of thinking with the damask, if you wanted to get creative and really see like up your mark game, but you don't like to draw, do some stencil marking underneath might be fun on your pieces. And so I was kind of thinking that could be somewhere that we could go today with this, is a few marks underneath. And I'm just doing one to kind of see what that even looks like. Because you can kind of test it on a test sheet too. You don't have to do it on the piece of art you're going to create. But because these are fun and it's all about experimenting and just creating and showing up, I thought, let's just see, you know, if we just draw around those. And it would probably help if I sharpened my pencil. But, you know, we can do something like that and have that showing through. I'll be honest, and that's not organic enough for me. Let's sharpen this pencil. I do like mine to be a little more organic and not so uniform and have that pattern on the top. So I'm going to, go on top of here and see what we can get. I broke the tip. I keep saying on top of here, but this is the underneath layer. I don't want perfect. I like things that are a little more organic like this. So I want that. I'm gonna go on top, but I thought I'd throw that idea out there. If you've got some favorite stencils, something that you're like, ooh, maybe I want some of that underneath, and you could do that with paint too. I just thought I'd throw a new idea out there that I probably haven't done on the YouTube channel as just an option and fun thing for you to try, possibly. And we are doing watercolor, so this mark making will show up through our watercolor and underneath whatever we decide to do for stenciling, so I'm okay with that. And if you hold the pencil way far back, you get much more organic looking lines, nothing so perfect. I don't like to hold the pencil way up close. It's hard to get loose. Okay. Let's see what we got. Where do we want to go today? All right, so I've just got a big watercolor brush out because I'm going to lay blocks of color. This is my Princeton Neptune No. 6 quill, and I'm just dipping that down into the water. Nothing special there, just getting it nice and wet. I don't know, let's start with this orange because it's a bright orange. And this paper is a little different to work on, so you know, you might have to dip your brush and add a little more water. And then, you know what this paper does that does drive me a tiny bit insane? It warps. And my Marksaw pencil there is water soluble, so that's going to show up under the watercolor that we've mushed that black around. But it'll be interesting to see what this one does. And then you can decide if you want to do that. And if you do want to do it, do you want to do it with water soluble or something that's not water soluble so it won't move around when you put the water on it? And generally, you'll notice me on all of these things I start in the corners and kind of fill in from there. So that's kind of the way I've just decided to go. And here's the gray. I'm not worried about the colors mixing. We're just going to see where we end up. That's the most fun to me with the challenges. Where do we end up versus where we started? You know, I've had these Kuretakes for close to a year now, and these have lasted pretty good as much as I've painted with them. So these go a long way. I love the big pan. I think that's why I kind of veered away from watercolor for a while, because I don't like that half pan size, and I just never use it. Let's come back with this kind of burgundy color. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, it's kind of pretty if you thin it down there, isn't it? But I do kind of want it to give me some bold color. And now I'm just edging out all the white there for these other colors, aren't I? Just noticed that. Ooh, so I'm kind of thinking I'm doing the best on that third one there. All right, let's see what this green is. Ooh, look how bright that green is. Oh my gosh. That green, we might want to, you know, maybe stencil on top of it instead of get it all over the piece. I'm just thinking out loud. We don't have to do anything specific. Just kind of thinking out loud here. Ooh, see that third one? Doing the best by the time I get to the third one. This is why I like to do things in multiples. If you got 3 of them, one of them is going to be your least favorite, and then one of them is going to be your most favorite, and then a second one in the middle might be, you know, it might be a favorite too, but I feel like if you do more than one, then you get past your least favorite as you're going. Because if this were the only one that I created, I wouldn't have gotten to this one over here. You know, I wouldn't have gotten to the less water on the piece and the piece is doing a little bit more of what they're doing. I would have gotten the overly saturated, probably too much watercolor on the piece, and I never would have got to that piece. So do more than one. Okay, let's see. I think what I'm going to do, let this dry a little. I'm going to get a few acrylic paints out in some color that I want to go on top with. So I'm going to let this dry and I'll be right back. Okay, I think we're mostly dry, and I'm kind of thinking maybe I want to do one of these pretty stencils on top of one of these. This is a Tim Holtz collection. Really pretty damask pattern, and it's called Flourish Layering Stencil THS032. Because I had gotten new stencils a while back and I've just not pulled them out, and we could either do this in a color. I'm almost considering the orange, maybe the green. I've got this kind of burgundy that I found in these little fusion mineral paints that's kind of pretty. I'm almost thinking like this pretty burgundy color. Ooh, what do you think of that? Ooh, that's a pretty color. Kind of thinking that possibly. So what I would recommend you do, if you're on the fence about colors, you know, you could do a little sample. You could kind of do the stenciling on your least favorite thing. And I like the stencils to be a little bit organic rather than square and exact. So rather than follow this stencil to the edge, I'll kind of stop it short of the edge and just see what we got. Okay, drum roll time. Oh, look how pretty that is. Okay, I was kind of like, is this gonna work out? I'm kind of hesitant. I'm a little hesitant today on what color I wanted, because this color palette is a tiny bit crazy, but now that that laid out so pretty, I like it. I like it. Oh, see. Okay, I like that. We're going to stick with the burgundy and come over here. And I don't even hate that this is up under there, and at the same time, I kind of wish it wasn't there. And maybe we'll go in a slightly different spot than we just did, because why not? And then, you know what I'm going to do on top of this? Bonus points if you can guess. Maybe a little bit of pastel on top of this. Oh, look how pretty that is. Okay, definitely feeling that this third one gonna be a favorite. Okay, oh my gosh, this is so pretty. Now I'm kind of thinking, do we want to do any other stenciling? Because I'm kind of feeling good about that. I pulled out some other stencils just in case. I've got some little hash marks here that we could work in a little bit, but I'm actually feeling super good about that right there. And I kind of want to get out some pastels. So I've got my Mungyo pastels right here, and I like to go over the stencil part here because it makes them pop. What do you think about this color right here? Oh my goodness, yes, let's do this one. And I kind of need this to be dry to do this. All right. So what I really like to do is just follow the pattern of the stencil and give it kind of just a three-dimensional, more hand-painted kind of look than a stencil look. Really just accents it really beautifully. And you can do this with other materials. Maybe if you've got some pencils that you like, those might work well. I just like the Mungyos. They give such a vibrant pop of color. And then I just finished this with some Sennelier oil pastel fixative, and it just makes it where they don't even hardly smudge or anything if you touch them. So I've really loved that on top of these. Ooh, now that is really pretty. And I love where that went. Now I wish that was not there. And now we need to decide, is this where we want it to be? Do we want to add some white dots in here maybe? Oh yeah, maybe I want some little white. We could add colored dots, you know, not all the stuff you do has to be white. Oh yeah, so here's a pretty, we could come back in here and decorate around our stencil even more with maybe some dots. Those are fun sometimes. Well, I have to move this paint away from my hand or I'm gonna paint everything. You can tell I've been painting for days. I got paint on my fingernails that won't come off. But I have enjoyed showing up every day. You just think of more things. You get more excited about showing up to your art table if you've been on a good roll, and I have been on a good roll. Okay, let me come over here and work on this one. I think this third one's definitely a favorite, but I also liked all the colors mixing together over here. So how interesting as we're working. And I think there's some workmen outside my window now. You know, I live in a townhome and there's some kind of banging going on. And I didn't know any work was going to go on because it's actually raining outside. So what the heck could they be doing out there? So if you hear some little banging or something smelling like a little woodpecker, it's people out there banging something. That's the only thing about living in a townhome. I like living in a little community. My neighbors are all nice. We're kind of on the lake, but not where you can just like, it's like 100 yards behind our community, past our fence, Lake Lanier. And so it's a road that I live down is a road where people come down and throw their boats in the lake, or they live down here. They don't come down this road just to come down this road. There's nothing else here. There's no shops or anything down the road. So it's a quiet road. It's really nice in the middle of, you know, a big city like Atlanta, finding a quiet little alcove. And this used to be, I've lived here 20 years. This used to be the middle of nowhere, literally, until like the last 5 years. And now it has just, Atlanta has found us. It has expanded north so far that we are just part of the city now. We're not out in the middle of nowhere anymore. I mean, when I was a kid, this was like the worst place you had to come. It was so far out. And as an adult, I've really enjoyed it being so far out. And now I'm like, where are all these people coming from? But this one is rather delightful. And so, yeah, people found us. It used to be so quiet. I do like that it's convenient to stores, and I like that the road is quiet, but man, I hardly like to leave the house anymore to get out in all that traffic, because as soon as you get past the red light that comes onto my road, it's like all of a sudden there's a million cars. And this is just like a little secret in the middle of all of it that's kind of quiet normally, except when people are working or the yard people show up. Because the yard people, apparently I'm the only building here, and they just come and stand under my window and run a blower all day. It's like never fails when I want to film, the blowers show up. And I'm like, they just have this sixth sense. It's like Murphy's Law. I'm filming today, the lawn people are going to be here doing some lawn stuff. Oh, look how pretty this is. You know, somebody's like, I challenge you to pull colors you don't like. And I think, isn't that what I do every time? I pull the weirdest, craziest cards that I can pull. Trust me, people, I'm challenging myself way before you're like, oh, I challenge you to do this. Don't you think I do the most challenges out of anybody on the internet? And it's my goal to pull the craziest color cards I can pull sometimes, because that is a challenge. These colors, don't tell me you didn't look at that and think, I don't know about that. Because I did. I thought, what can we do with this, and how can we make it work, and what are we going to end up with? And I always reserve the right to, if something just totally bombs, I could, not post it. But, so far you've seen everything I've done. I've never not posted one of them, because by the end of it, I'm like, wow, look where we ended up, kind of thing. I mean, it's kind of amazing how that works. The colors you think are going to be just absolutely insane, and that's part of the challenge for me. What can we do with it and make this work? I think we just made this work, and these were some colors that I totally doubted. I mean, just admire that for a moment. I'm kind of feeling like, see, it's at this point that you're like, I don't know, are you about to ruin it? Maybe I am. Look at that color there. I'm kind of feeling like maybe, maybe just like a tiny bit of this color in our stencil might be fun. And I know you thought I was going to do some big scribble somewhere, but I'm not sure this is a big scribble piece, but as an extra element on our stencil bit, look how good. Look how good. So, yes, that was a good choice. Good choice, Denise. Because I almost felt like it needs a pop. It needs to pop a little bit. How can we make it pop a little bit? I mean, now I'm kind of wondering if my little dots should have been orange. Totally should have been orange. And then you'll find one or two that you forgot as you're going back over this. Come back, touch them up if you need. This just makes the stencil so much prettier, more hand-drawn, a little bit more of a personalized element that most people that have the stencils probably aren't going to do, or they're not doing. And your piece is going to be extra special if you come back and start doing some of these extra little elements on your art. Oh yeah, that's pretty. That is totally making this all the difference here. I don't know what those guys banging outside were doing, but they have driven away. Maybe they heard me talking about them. Their ears were burning. Their ears were burning. Whoa, look how pretty this is. Oh my gosh. Now I'm kind of thinking, do we need anything else? Are we there? Anything left? But I'm kind of feeling like these are awfully pretty like they are. I could do some extra mark making. I could add some dots. I could do lots of different things here, but I don't know. I'm kind of feeling that looks really pretty. And my goal is when I tear these up, I'm going to decal these edges, and then we could reevaluate and think, does it need anything else? Is it there? Was there anything else I wanted to add? So let's peel the tape and let's see, is there anything else it needs? And we could always continue working it even after you peel tape to evaluate it. So that doesn't mean it has to be done. This one's definitely my favorite still. I'm loving what we did there. And you could use the heat gun if you're peeling your tape and the paper sticks, but this paper's done pretty darn good. Not tearing the paper. Which is why I decided I really liked it. I used it on something. It might have been the Cotty sketchbooks, and I was like, And I think what I'm going to do, just in case, heat the tape. Let that adhesive kind of release. Oh, I tore a piece of paper. Arr! I did get a little tiny piece on there. Let's do one without doing that. That's the only thing. This paper's questionable. Oh, okay, there we go. That's pretty cool. Look how pretty this is. Oh my gosh, let's get our rip ruler. Let's get the rip ruler out. Here's my dual edge ripper. I love it. I love the dual edge ripper. And we could still add more stuff, but I just want to see where we're at. And I do want the edge to still look hand torn because all the other edges of this paper look that way. Look at that. Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. And you just have to be careful that you're not going too fast and you'll tear the paper evenly rather than rip it where you didn't intend. Nothing like getting to the end and then ripping it where you didn't intend. I mean, you could even rip the paper before you get started and then you didn't have to go through that little bit of stress. Okay, now out of all these three, I'm kind of almost thinking the middle one might be my very favorite there. Look at that. Well, except for that one spot. I kind of wish I hadn't done that, even though look how pretty that is. So then we can decide, does it need anything else, any extra marks? Are we done? Do we like where we ended up? I kind of like where we ended up, and I might leave these right here. Wow. With our inspired color palette, which was admittedly kind of crazy, and I always doubt the crazy ones, but look what we get when we do the crazy palettes. Ah! Okay, hope you had fun painting with me today. Definitely want you to try the stencil and then mark making on top, whether that be with an oil pastel or a Neocolor 2 crayon or an oil pencil, or the polychroma pencils would have been a good choice, and just see like how can you add more depth and dimension into your piece. So I hope you had fun painting with me today. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you next time.